family. It's Nomsa here at Nkosi Talk Shows. Find your own voice late from within. So with me today, I'm with Amanda Murray and Grant Morrell. How are you guys? We're just talking about the cup just before came live. Amanda's got the nicest cup of tea, and Grant really loves it. Are you guys okay?
We are.
How are you guys?
Good, good. It's good.
It's good to have Amanda back.
It is.
Time zone, yeah, we're on the normal time zone, although for her it's still early in the morning. 6 a.m., right?
Yeah, it's 6 a.m. here because the daylight savings time switched it. So you guys were on at my like 7 a.m., which would have made it too late for me to be able to come on because I already am on my way to work by then.
Awesome, awesome. So the topic today is how to train your men build the perfect partner at home. Relationships thrive on mutual understanding, respect, and effort. While you can't force someone to change, you can inspire and guide your spouse towards becoming the best version of himself, one that aligns with your shared values, vision for a fulfilling partnership. So training your men isn't about control, guys. It's about positive reinforcement, clear communications, and leading by example. So by following these steps, you will create a relationship where both partners grow together, fostering a love, trust, harmony, and in your home. So what do you think, Grant or Amanda, about this topic? Because sometimes some women, they truly struggle when they work and they've got kids. They struggle thinking that they have to do it all. But they don't have to. They can just, like here at Nkosi Talk Shows, we've trained Grant to be the best, and Grant is the best.
I would think Grant trains us a little bit because he's all the time. I actually, when I first heard this topic, I was like, "Ooh, that's a little triggering for some people for sure." Because I don't necessarily think like if you say like I'm gonna train you like that almost is like a trigger word. So I was thinking, I was like, and I also don't have a partner. I'm just by myself. So with my daughter, and I got divorced when she was like 2. So this training part to be the perfect partner doesn't really fit so well with me, but I also think too is even like valuing yourself enough to know what you're willing to put up with and what you're not willing to put up with. And then I was just listening to a podcast the other day and it was talking about just like society in whole. I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast and with Chris Williamson. I'm pretty sure it was that one, but I listened to like 5 in the last couple days and 5 different podcasts from different people, so I could be getting it mixed up. But they were talking about how right now, at least in the US, there's like 2 women graduating for every one man graduating from university. And we're seeing this like shift where like women are making more money and taking on more roles, and how that's causing like men to really struggle in different areas because they're not having those traditional roles anymore that they did in the past, and how that's shifting society but then also causing conflict. And I thought that was really really interesting because in like more like traditional role it would have been like the man goes to work, the woman takes care of the house, and they weren't saying like we need to go back to that. They're just saying like we have had this like clash, and now where do we go from here? And I think that's a really important conversation to have and to open up, because we are seeing things like that. And when I look at my own self, like I'm a teacher and I'm like the full-time provider for my daughter, and I even when I was married, I was doing everything. And that's one of the reasons why I got divorced, was because I was like, well, he's not bringing anything into my life that's of value, and it's just causing me more stress. And when I got divorced when my daughter was 2, I remember a friend saying like, "Oh, aren't you like so stressed because you have so much more work to do now?" And I said, "No, my workload got cut in half. I'm only doing my laundry and my daughter's laundry now. I'm only cleaning up after me and myself. My house size got cut in half. I only have like just 2 floors to clean up after that's like just me and her. I only have to shop for me and a 2-year-old. I don't have to make different meals because he's not eating what I eat. Like all of those things made my life so much easier. And so when Nomas has said like we need a partnership, like that's really what you're looking for is somebody who's going to be your partner and work on areas that like are not your strengths, and then like you can help them in areas that are not their strengths. And so even now I'm like, oh, there's things that I really, really suck at. So I just call on friends. Like putting together furniture is not my strength at all. And at Christmas, I got this like vanity for Christmas and I was like trying to put it together. And one of my friends messaged me and they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, sent a picture of my like bonus room that had just like parts all over the place. They're like, I'll come over and help you. Like I'm failing so bad.
Oh, I love today's subject. You're giving me so much material with which to work. You really are.
I'd love to hear your perspective of this because I feel like I need help in certain areas, even though I am so capable of so much by myself. There are still parts where I'm like, help me.
I'm trying to remember because, yeah, firstly, I'm very, very glad you saw that podcast and I had the subject it did because I do honestly think that's a huge, huge subject. And it's one which I often end up picking up the pieces of. I won't say every day, but every week in my job as a coach, it's my role there. Seeing these traditional values being challenged, how it plays out in the workplace, career, and guilt, shame. Yeah, it does. It's big. And again, it's nothing wrong with the shift, but it takes management. It really does. And I saw one of your TikToks the other day, Amanda, when you were talking. I think your hot water boiler, and you called upon somebody. I thought that was a good bit of maneuvering. You called upon a friend for one of your groups who helped you out, which was
Yeah,
great.
I just text my soccer team and I was like, anybody like know how to do this? And they like helped me and did everything for me. And it was so fantastic. And I
Yeah,
was just like, friends are so amazing
yeah.
because they know I'm a single mom. So like they just came and helped me and did everything that I need. Like I couldn't have been more grateful. So yeah, it's a community.
Yeah. Asking people, hey, I'm doing good, and I'm not a tech head, right? And I did a favor for an organization the other day, and I messaged them this morning, hey, how would you do that? And one said, hang on, what is it you want? Leave it with me. I'll see if I can do it for you. It was just a favor called back like that. But today's subject, fantastic. And when I first heard about it, I said, I think this should be a book. I think it should be a book. I think it should be a book, and I think it should be a book of fiction. Because and my second thought was this shouldn't just be a book, this should be a book series, because this is going to have to be a very thick book to teach me how to. And when it comes to if you guys are out there dating, as we said, if you've got an online dating profile or not, we may need to coach you a little bit on the wording of how to train. Hey, come and date me, and I'm going to train you. Oh, right. Yeah. And I think the word you're looking for, Amanda, is reactance. Yeah, it's that classic thing when you see the sign as a kid, it said, keep off the grass. What do? You go and put your foot right on that grass. Yeah, it's that reactance thing. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to train you. Oh, are you really? It's going to get us that reactive. But yeah, it's a brilliant subject. How do you do it? And you're talking about you've got half the work to do, but you're on your own. I'm thinking, oh my God, us guys really are trouble, aren't we? We really are trouble. But it's a brilliant subject. It's a
I
lovely
don't think you're
subject.
trouble in general. I just think the person I was married to was really incompetent in a lot of areas and very narcissistic and self-centered and was not a partner, right? And you want a partner. And I think that many males are very great partners. So I just want to clarify that. I don't think that
You see,
just
I'm an interesting one and a funny one because I can be tidy yet untidy, right? Um, how can I put this? When I was a kid at school, my mathematics teacher, the parents go to school, see the evening, and my mathematics teacher did an impression of me to my parents. And when they told me what he did, I think, he's absolutely right. And he said, Grant will sit there with his desk, he'll do that, and he'll get all his pens and his paper and he'll rule it and he'll make it absolutely straight. Because I probably didn't realize I was OCD, and I still am. Right, so I'll straighten everything out so it's absolutely exactly straight and get everything perfect. He said, hey, Grant will start talking to the guy next to him, which is exactly what I'll do. I talk to Paul, who used to sit next to me in mathematics, right? And we'd sit there. Not that I didn't do the work, but that was just my style of operating. So I can be very tidy in setting out my workstation, but I can be a bit untidy outside of that. So I'm a bit of an unusual one in that sense. Yeah, I tidy yet untidy. I've not quite worked out myself. Probably psychologists out there say, we know exactly what you are. But that's what I am. But you're right, Amanda. It comes to finding your partner who's right for you and how it gets together. Now, having said what I said, I once dated a very, very attractive lady. Very, very, very attractive lady. And I got in a car once. I was like, there's a spare wheel in the back seat of your car. And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And there was like stuff everywhere in the car. And I'm like, what happened? And she said, oh, I had a flat tire like about a month ago. My friend changed it for me. I'm like, why don't you put it in the boot, the trunk? As you may call it. I said, what? Because that's where it came from. And they looked me up for it. Oh, you just put it in the bag. And I think, why would you put it in the bag? It's greasy. And it stayed there. Now, we're going to have some friends over for dinner at a place, and she's cooked magnificent, very well turned out, immaculate dresser, very well spoken, very well educated, great job, cooked this beautiful food. And I'm like, where are they going for dinner? Oh, they're going to come over and play games and do like, where's it? In the lounge? And I'm like, and I'm sitting in the lounge, and I was like, what, where I am? And there was like mess everywhere. And I was like, so now I instinctively start tidying up. Now that's quite funny because I'm not the tidy up kind of guy, right? And I'm like, this is weird. Now this is weird. I'm instinctively flipped into tidy up people coming up. And that is the funniest thing. And there was like all her hairdressing stuff like everywhere. And I'm like, where would this go? And someone just put it everywhere. So she says, like, where's everything? Because that's not nice. When you're tidy, you just throw people's stuff in a box and like, where's it gone? So I'm trying to put it there, and I'm fluffing up the cushions and moving stuff out. Look, vacuum this and put this there. I mean, made it look. But my point was, she would have just left it as it was, and had people. There was barely room for them to sit down. I'm not kidding. It was a bit of a thing. But the food was delicious. She was a wonderful host. She didn't see the signal. Didn't see the signal, and it gets worse. But we haven't got time for that. But that's where it went. I mean, seriously, and I was quite shocked by that. And in the end, something happened in time. The place not being tidy. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further. It wasn't that the place was untidy, but I discovered something extraordinarily unhygienic. And I remember sitting there looking, and I was in deep, deep shock because my eyesight's not great, right? And I thought, what is that in the corner? I can't, like, the light was dark, and when she told me what it was, I was horrified. And at that point, I thought, I need to get out of this relationship. It was pretty for me to say it was pretty poor. And I was shocked again because this lady, very smart, very educated, very hygienic in a personal appearance and her hygiene, very, very clean, lovely person, wonderful host, but there was just something there. And I was like, what have I just walked into? I remember that moment distinctly. Now it's kind of funny. I'm very hygienic. I'm not necessarily tidy.
Maybe there needs to be another book on how to train your woman.
Oh, there's the book series. There you go. We're missing something there. But yeah, there's always anomalies, isn't there? But I just wanted to throw that in because it's an interesting counterpoint. But love the subject. I think it's a really interesting one. Not sure about the word. I think the word train is a wonderful, provocative word to get focus. You said it to the partner. You want to use a slightly different word, but you said at the beginning about working with it, leading by example, and I think that's a great one. But love the subject. Really made me chuckle first of all, but I think it's a great one. What do you think, Namsa? What do you think about this?
I think the subject is good. I got this topic. I met one of the MPs in our church. She's Indian and she has a husband. So everyone was wondering, oh, she's not the MP now. There's MP and what else? The top one?
Mayor?
Yeah, she's mayor. She's mayor now. So she was the MP, now she's mayor. So we were asking her questions. How is she able to do everything? She's a speaker as well, to travel around the world. She's got a daughter and her husband has he's a scientist. He's got really high jobs, busy, demanding jobs. So it's like, how do you cope with all this? And she was like, I had to train my husband to become what he is today. I had to, because she was like, I grew up in India where a woman has to do everything. But when I came here, I realized that I was never going to do everything. Otherwise, I'll be sinking to depression. So she said, okay, honey, you said I do, but I do, it means we're a team here. So she was a doctor at the time and she hadn't gone for a job as an MP. So she decided, you know what? Let me train the guy. She trained him how to, apparently the guy cleans better than her. She says if he goes away for work, they struggle a bit. They can't use part of the house because he's not there to help them to clean the house. Apparently, their husband is, yeah.
So I have is she pretty clean and tidy, or is she one of these really high functioning ladies who's really untidy?
Oh, she said you have to, what you are, you have to train your husband. You can't expect your husband to be what you're not. So, which is, as a coach, that's what I agree with her, that you got to be that first. And then you then have to have really like define what you want in a partner, but you have to become that first, and then be clear on traits, behaviors, habits you would like a man to develop, and ask yourself these expectations. Are you that yourself? Are they reasonable and beneficial for both of you? And then focus on the qualities you have to improve in the relationship, not just personal preferences and stuff, but working together as a team, because a relationship is a teamwork. So you got to be work as a team. So it's really, really, really important. Because otherwise, Amanda, you can verify with me for grant that, being a woman is hard work. Like myself, my children, they do acting, they do that. So it means I got to work. And then after that, I got to travel with them. And I was saying to their dad the other day, I said, okay, they were doing exams. I was like, you taking them tomorrow, if that's okay, and this time, it's going to be this time, you got to arrive at this time, giving him a list. And I was like, but I got to sleep. And I was like, what have you got to do? And I was like, tomorrow is my peaceful day. I got to go to church. So you got to do all that with the kids. And when I was not willing to negotiate, and he just looked at me, and then he realized that I'm not willing to negotiate, because he has to see what I have to go through with his kids. And next week, my daughter, she's filming. So I was just wanted to, I was like, you might have to take her as well. Because I do everything. I do to take them. I take them. He does long hours. So I just like, I just show up for everything. But before Granddad was alive, Granddad was showing up with me. Now he's not here. Yeah, I think it's good, Grant, but you got to have a character. You got to have a good character to go with it. You can't just give him any attitude and say, I want you to do this. If you don't do that, and blackmail them, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's the way it's done and the context, isn't it? So
Yeah,
I suppose from the beginning, it's about giving a reason, setting the context.
yeah.
Why? Why are we asking training someone? I just can't help but think of it like a dog, you know. There's a heel, no, again, do it again, jump up. But it's but what, how, and why are we doing it? So that's the first thing. Let's explore if we can. Why? Why do we want to train our partner? Why do we need to do that? Why do we want to do it? Should we not accept each other's differences? Isn't that part of marriage vows? Let me just put the cat amongst the pigeons and press the agitation button. What about that? Let me throw that into the argument. Why should we not adhere to that? What do you think?
Well, I think when I look at this as a whole, I'm listening to you explain your experience with the really messy lady, and I'm like, oh, that's like my worst nightmare. Because I'm like so tidy, right? Like everything has a spot. And of like my daughter's finally starting to realize that too. And she's keeping her room really tidy and organized. And she's like, I feel so much better when I'm organized. But some people don't feel better when they're organized. Some people like thrive in their like messy chaos. I had a partner teacher, like when I was in my practicum to become a teacher, who you couldn't even see her desk. Like there was just piles of stuff everywhere. And I like walked in on my first day and I was like, just like, I'm going to not do well in this room. Right. But she taught me a lot. Is my room like hers? Absolutely not. I could not thrive in a scenario like that, but she did teach me that there can be really wonderful teachers who are not organized at all, right? And so it taught me a lesson. Could I be in that space forever? No. And when I got my own space, I was like, became okay with, especially when I taught really younger kids, they would like leave piles of stuff on my desk, and every day at the end of the day I'd have like piles of stuff from children on my desk, and I'd be like, oh, and every night I'd clean it up and then start over again the next day, and the next day I'd have all this stuff on my desk, and I'd be like, oh, it's like my first practicum over and over and over again. And then I'd clean it up and do the same thing over again. But it's because of my organization necessity that I need to feel calm and in a good space for myself, that I would do that. Whereas other people, that wouldn't bother them. And there are still teachers that are really, really great teachers who are not organized the way that I'm organized. And that's okay, because there's different kids that are going to thrive in their room that are not going to thrive in my room, and vice versa. And when I think about the perfect partner, I think about all my girlfriends who are single, and we're not competing with each other for like a person, because we know that the person who's right for me is not going to be the same person that's right for either of them. And if there's a person that's perfect for like this one friend of mine, they're not going to be the right person for the other two of our friends that are single, right? And so when I look at like perfect partner, you really have to think about like, what is it that are your boundaries? What are your non-negotiables? How are you going to show up so that you're modeling, that you're not compromising, and that you're actually modeling like, this is who I am and how I show up in the world, and not mask who you are, so that the person that does show up as your perfect partner is going to be your perfect partner. They're not going to be the perfect partner for somebody else, because they fit with your values and who you are as a person. Right. And I even think about my girlfriend that's like the most like me. The perfect partner for me isn't going to be the perfect partner for her, because even though she's the most similar friend that I possibly have, we still have differences that wouldn't make the same man the perfect partner for either of us. And when I think about that, and I think about like what you were saying, Grant, about like I'm a little messy, but like that was like over the top for me. You're gonna find your person that's like can handle that and can live in that space where they're like, I'm that equal, little bit messy or maybe a little bit more organized. So I help Grant stay organized in this area, but he helps me stay organized in this area. And that's our perfect match and balance. And so I really think finding and training the perfect partner for yourself is about really standing in your boundaries and knowing who you are so that you're showing up authentically in the world so that you can attract that partner that's going to really fit and build a partnership with you. I don't know. What do you think about that, Graham?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it is about finding that partner, and I think it is about finding that balance, if you will, between the two. How you complement, that would be the word I'd look, complement each other. I think it's about making acceptable, workable standards. If that standards may or may not be the right word for a relationship, it may be for the protocol or best practice of a company. I'm not sure it is for a relationship, but the right feel, the right vibe. Understanding that, let's say one person's super tidy and super organized, for example, and the other person is really bad. I don't think it's perhaps right to ask that person to become super organized and super tidy. But I think there's this sort of space about here where it needs to be between this parameter. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. As long as we can get it there, it can be wonderful. There was a wonderful film, what's it? Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David. And if you've ever seen it, it's of course it's a comedian, and it's a husband and wife sort of show, and they in the show that they, for most of it, the husband and wife, then they split up, etc. But and of course they're always arguing. This is the thing, right? And it goes for, and he says something at a party that really upsets her. She drives home and she's furious. She's like a 10 mad. And he said, no, I can't drive with you if you're a 10 mad. And he said, no, he said, what would it take? He said, to get you down to a level 7 until we get home, and then you can go right back up to a 9. I really don't mind. He said, what would it take? And she said, well, okay, if you do that, I can get down to a 7. She said, I can live with that. I can work with that. And they're both laughing about it. He said, once we get home, you can throw anything you like at me. I don't care. And that's what they did. And I thought it was a wonderful way of them accepting that she was absolutely furious with what he had done, and he understands it. But he was just like, can we just get it to there just for now? And then they both laughed about it while she was still angry. And I thought that was a great way of dealing with it. So, but if you take that analogy, what is workable? There's probably the phrase I'm looking for. Workable. What is workable in that situation? Because sometimes, again, if someone's really bad at it, to ask them to come brilliant is too much of a stretch. It's like, oh, come on. No way. When I'm coaching people, sometimes I say, on a 1 to 10, where are you? You want to be this thing, whatever it is. And you're, 10 is fantastic, and you're at a 4. What would it take to get you to a 7? Because I think 7 is workable. I want to get them up to a 9, up to a 10, but that might be too much to ask, right? It depends on the person. Some people just go through heaven and hell when they go for those huge goals to do it, and some people it's like, that's too much, it's going to break them. Okay, don't worry about that. How can we get you to 6 for now? 6 is like just hanging in there. You're in the game at least, something. And then from 6, like, how can we get that? How can we notch it up? What would a 7 look like? Okay, what would you have to do to be a 7? Well, let's go for an 8, and then let's see if you land on 7. And then I keep, doing it like that. Depends where the person is, but if the person's at a 7, I'll say, I'm curious. What would it take to get you to a 9? Because most people have this sort of barrier. They don't want to get to 10. Or they think 10 is impossible. It isn't, but they think it is. So I don't bother with it. I say, what about a 9? Where would a 9? Because then once I know we're getting to a 9, the difference between 9 and 10 almost comes automatically once they get in the flow. So it's the way of asking them. And I think the first thing is, what would be workable? That's my thought. But would that work, Nomsa? Would that work for you, or would it work for your MP Dr. Mia friend? Would it work, or is that no good? It's just got to be a 10. It's got to be better than her.
No,
Good.
Grant, you know what? What people don't realize is every little make a difference. Whatever you contribute, it will make a big difference in your life. Like Mother's Day, I didn't have to cook. My children were cooking. But you don't want to go there when my oldest one cooks, because she's one of those kids who went to, like, when you go to a private school, everything is taught properly. So everything that she uses, it has to come out of the cupboard. By the time she's finished cooking, everything is out. But she doesn't clean up. She cooks for you, she doesn't clean up. You have to go and clean the messy. All these good chefs, that's what they do. So, but if I could find a husband that would be like, do 6% to 7% of the house chores in the house, 8, that would be me pushing it. I think it will make a big difference, right? Even putting clothes in the washing machine and getting them out, cooking, it just makes so much. You have no idea how the difference it makes, but people don't realize that. But that's why you have to train your spouse to actually. Me, I'm very good at training people without them realizing anywhere. Honestly, yeah, that's what I used to do before I became a matchmaker, when I was meeting guys, interviewing them. But they wouldn't realize that I'm giving them interview. And I'll be like, okay, I have my peace now. I need a guy that can bring peace in my life. So what's the best way? Is interview. So if I have to train a guy, that woman, she gave me the idea, I will just be as playful as I can until they are like spot on. Yeah, but I think it's really important to work as a team, because when you get married to someone, it's fun, it's exciting, and at the same time, that person has to know that they need to help you out. Because men sometimes, like Amanda at the beginning, you mentioned that women now, more women are graduating. It shouldn't be a problem. If a woman is earning more money, like I was admiring the guy for my daughter. I think there's many now I see, actually, laws of men, they're dropping their own kids at school, picking them up. They are working from home, or sometimes women, they go to work, they work from home, they pick up the kids. And I think that's wonderful. And this guy, his woman earn more money, so he stays at home. He has his business, but he stays at home picking up the kids. So I really went to him. I said, I actually admire you for looking after your own children, because men think it's not right when a woman goes to work. And I was like, it's so wonderful to see men stepping up and say, you know what, I'm going to be a full-time dad, and I'm going to look after my kids. Because people believe that a woman has to be the one that stays at home, but I don't think so. I think sit down, come up with an agreement. If a woman earns more money, the woman goes to work and the man can stay at home. It's just working as a team. The team, that's why you enter a relationship, to get things under control.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I really think that team part is part of it, right? And
Yeah.
even when you look at sports teams, like if there's somebody on the team that's not showing up, they get kicked off the team. Right?
Watch out, guys. Watch out. You don't get kicked
You're
off
not
the field.
showing up for practices, you're out. If you're not like showing up and being here and being fully present, then you can't be on our team, right? And it's the same in relationships. If you're not showing up and being present and being part of the team in that mutual agreement that you have come to, and I think one of the things is being really intentional about what your mutual agreement looks like. At different points in time, your an agreement in a relationship is going to look different. In your 20s, it looks different than in your 30s. In your when you're a single parent, it looks different than when you're completely single, right? So I think that there's really, when you're really focusing on your career, a relationship that needs a lot of your time isn't going to be the best fit for you. You're going to need somebody that's also focused on, that has a balance between their career and your relationship, right? And I think a lot of the men that I know who are really focused on their careers and really successful in their careers aren't necessarily as successful at home sometimes. And then how do you find that balance between like showing how successful they can be in this one area, and then can you bring that success and in those skills that you have to be successful in your work environment to bring that at home as well. And so what skills is it that you're showing there that you're not bringing those same skills to your home? And I think that's really part of it, right? Is if you're spending like 14 hours a day at work and not a lot of time at home, then you're going to see your relationship decline, right? And so that commitment that you have to your work, you need to show like a balanced commitment to your partner and to your home life as well. And so when I look at like a perfect partnership, it has to be something where both people feel fulfilled with how each other is showing up in that relationship, right? How many texts do you need each day? Some people don't need any. Some people are like, I'm good, just like text me that you made it home safe or something. Some people lose their minds when they're like, text me that you made it home safe. Like they're like, stop checking up on me, and they get mad about that, right? And so it's like, what works for you intentionally? And when you look at who you are and what you need from somebody else or what you'd like for somebody else, nobody's going to swoop in and save you from yourself, right? You need to show up as the best version of yourself each and every day. And if you want to attract a really great person into your life, then you need to be showing up as the best version of yourself as much as you possibly can. And so for me, one of the things that I like have been working on for myself was like, I really want somebody who's active to come into my life and who eats healthy and who enjoys the outdoors, but also like has a really great career, because I feel like that's me. That would be my like equal, right? But I also am like, if I want somebody that's like working out regularly, then I need to make sure that I'm showing up at the gym regularly too, because I want someone that like goes to the gym without me forcing them to go to the gym. Like that's their like regular, but also then I need to make sure that I get there too, so that I can hold myself accountable to be that better version of myself that makes sure that exercise and healthy eating and spending time in nature and being mindful and meditating are all things that I'm already doing so that I can attract that type of person into my life too.
Right. I think that's a great thing. And it's leading, you're saying leading by example. Now, somebody did once remind me that, Grant, not only do you have to put things into the dishwasher, but when they clean, you have to take them out. I thought it was just like an extra cupboard where you open it, you take out what you need and close it back up. But but I discovered that is not what it's for, and it's not how it works. So I was trained, but I'm joking, but kind of serious. But but the point is, again, leading by example. Now, people are different. But one of the things when people say, hey, can you do this, do that? I say, yeah, show me how to do it. And of course, I'm used to training teams. And when people say, oh, no, I said, no, you don't get it. If you want someone to do something, you've got to show them how to do it. So if you've got the best practice, you know the best way to do it. Don't let them labor and run about and try and work out themselves and make a screw up of it. Show them the one way. Don't teach them bad. Show them the right way to do it from the beginning. And it's worth investing your time. I know you're busy and you want someone else to do it so it saves you time. It's going to take more time in the first place to show them. I know. But that's what you have to do. That's why you should not wait until it's 100% busy. Wait about 80%. Then start showing someone else. I would invest time in showing someone else how to do something for me so I don't have to do it again. all day long. I will happily invest time and be late, behind something, to know that that role is now relinquished to someone else. Perfect. That's going to save me so much time next time to do that. So be prepared to show someone, and don't just do it in the way that you know how to. Oh, that's how you do it, and expect them to understand it. You've got to show them slowly, methodically, in the same way that perhaps you look at a YouTube thing showing you how to do something. If you're really good at something, you do it full speed. If you're really good at it, perhaps you put it tight, speed and a half or double speed because you can get for it. If you're not so great at that thing, maybe you have to put it on half speed to really go over it slowly, to learn it first of all. And then as you get a bit faster, it goes quicker. Now, remember, don't just teach someone something in the way that you're doing it just to get it off your hands. Teach them to be brilliant at it. That takes a little bit of time, a bit of dedication, and a bit of love. So you can't teach people out of frustration. You've got to do it out, right? You get the point. There's a big difference there. Oh, you're useless. I showed you how to. I can do it. No. Get your ego out of the way and teach them how to do it properly. Put love into it, because if this is part of a relationship, should you not put love into the sharing of information? I don't think it's teaching. I think we're sharing information here, right? It's for the greater good of the dual outcome. And I think that's it. When you understand. Somebody once said to me, how can I get my wife to go to the gym? She needs to lose weight. I said, ooh, be careful how you approach that one. I said, perhaps you want to suggest that we go to the gym. Something like that. Be prepared to go there first as any leader. Hey, babe, why don't we go to the gym? Why don't we go get fit and do this? Because then we could do this, make fun activities. You've got to go first, right? If you want to do it. You can't just say, literally, I kid you not, a guy I'd known for many years said to me once, oh, you do hypnosis? Because I'd known this guy like 30, 40 years. And he said, hey, you do hypnosis now? He said, oh, you'll have to do hypnosis on my wife. I'm like, why? I said, she needs to lose weight. I'll ask. Grant could do hypnosis on her, help you lose weight. I said, does she want to lose weight? Like, yeah, I said, I think if she wants to ask me to help her do that, because, oh yeah, my husband sent me to lose weight. Like, no. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, you got to want to do it, not because you've been ordered to go there. Like the mother who sends a kid to hypnotherapy because she wants to help them get good grades at school. Like, what's going on here then? That kid had good grades and now suddenly isn't working hard at school. Can you hypnotize her to get good grades? Oh, by the way, he's done no homework, no revision, and the big test is tomorrow. Probably not. Well, maybe he can help it. But I'm more interested in why that kid is perhaps rebelling. Why is that kid not wanting to do it? Is he sick of being the trophy kid? Is that the thing? Is it the parents is rebelling against the parent, wants to be loved as the child, not as the trophy child? That might be what's going on. So perhaps we don't want to be fixing the wrong thing here. Perhaps we want to get to what's really going on, and then the kid will naturally want to go back to the way it was. So it's what are we fixing? What do we put in? Let's get on to the truth of the story and keep the love in it. Let them.
Have you read this book? It's so good. I just read it the other day. I don't know if you follow Mel Robbins at all, but I started following her probably about 2 years ago. And her story is pretty amazing. Where she originally was like $800,000 in debt, unemployed at 41.
Can I see the back of the book, Amanda?
The front of it.
The back.
And so anyways, when you were talking about a man wanting his wife to lose weight, there's a chapter 14 of this book. It says people only change when they feel like it. And there's in the book where it's talking about the opposite. The woman wanted her husband to lose weight, but it also talked about how you can't make somebody do something that they don't want to do. And exactly what you were saying, Grant, where it's like, does she want this? Is she motivated enough to change? And then what is it in you that's pushing them to wanting to push them to want to change? And then why, when you wish somebody would change, like really you have to come back and be like, okay, what are my boundaries? What are my non-negotiables? Because people are going to do what they want to do no matter what.
Yeah.
Even your toddler, you can't make your toddler do anything. I remember years ago, I said to one of my students, because he was a student that really struggled, and he was fooling around and like not distracting the rest of the class. And I pulled him out of class and I said, look, I can't make you learn. The only person who can make you learn is you. I said, I could like be the best teacher in the world. And if you don't want to learn, you're not going to learn anything. Like, but you can't distract everybody else in the class. If you don't want to learn, fine, don't learn anything, but stop fooling around and distracting everybody else in here. If you want to just sit here and do nothing for the rest of the year, you can do that. I won't teach you anything because I can't teach you anything unless you want to learn, right? And that was like a light switch went off in his head, and he stopped fooling around all the time. And if he didn't want to learn, he just chose not to. And I was like, great, don't learn today. And so it was almost like I gave him permission to just be like, I don't feel like doing this today. Okay, just like don't mess it up for everybody else, right? And that almost like, and he was only in grade 5. So, and this was like a number of years ago now. But I was just like, I can't make you learn. No matter what I do, I can't make you learn. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to engage in the topic or whatever it is that we're doing. Just please stop distracting everybody else so that if they want to learn, I can teach them. And that like just opened up the doors, right? And so when we think about losing weight, it's like if they don't want to lose weight, they're never going to. Let them not lose weight. But it's like, what is your boundary that's causing you to want to push them in this direction?
Yep.
Right? And it could be you want the best for them. You want them to be healthy so you guys can have a wonderful life together. But no matter how much we know about what it is that we need to do to make a healthy life for ourselves, not everybody's going to show up and do it.
Right. That's right. It's an interesting point. So people want to do it. So I think it comes back to that sort of thing. And I think that nobody does anything unless they see a purpose for it. I always say, if I said to you, hey, just go and run across the road and come back, you'd say, why? If I said, I don't know, there was like a $1 million in a sack or something, you go, oh, okay, cool. You know, and you go and do it, or whatever it was, the thing that you wanted. If you see a purpose for it. And this is why I come back to context, lay in the context. Would it be a good idea if? So you've got to get someone's buy-in. So rather than I want you to do that, how about if that thing that we said we wanted, that thing we wanted to achieve, we wanted to have more time to do this over a weekend or something, it would really, really help if you could do this and do that, because that would allow us more time. And then imagine how it would feel if we had this and that after. And then people do a thing called a transvariation of search in their mind. You go there and go, yeah, I can see that. Right? You search your mind like for, yeah, that's what it would be like. And that would be cool. And then that person can see a reason for wanting to make that change. And then they may be more open to the idea of you showing them with love, with care, the way how to do that to a workable standard. Because once you get a workable standard, you're going to get better at it. You're going to get better. It's a fact, right? When you first rode a bicycle, you was a little bit wibbly wobbly, but you only need to get to the safety, safe enough to do it, safe enough. When you pass a driving test, all they're looking for is, are you safe enough to go out on the public highway? They're not looking for you being the best driver in the world, just a safe enough not to endanger yourself and other people. And I bet you get better. I know your driving instructors are out there going, no, you don't get better. You get really bad habits. But the idea is that you get better with practice, with care, with experience, right? That's the general analogy. And I think this is anything. So if you can get someone to good enough, first of all, you'll get better. First time you washed up plates, I guess you wasn't too good at it or too fast at it. I bet if you still wash plates by hand, you're better at it and faster at it than you used to be when you first did it. Right? Voila. There's my analogy. Get them to a good enough. It's easier. And if you give them a reason what would be the benefit to them of doing it? Not just like, I won't nag you, because that doesn't come from love, that comes from fear. And the best thing to be achieved in life is from love. So if we would love to get this outcome, not me would, we would. If we both agree we want to do that thing, you can do that, and then you see the reason for making this change. That gives them a positive step to wanting to do it. And if you put love into the teaching, training, sharing, call it what you will, that comes from a great way, because no one wants to be told what to do. Otherwise, that creates reactance. Again, don't put your foot in the grass. Really? Boom, you get that reaction. So rather than asking people, would it be okay if give people a choice to say no? Because occasionally they might want to say no. That's fine. Let them say no now and then. Let them have that little bit of power, that ebb and flow. But generally speaking, if you give people some free slack, they'll often come back and volunteer. And that's when you're really winning, when people volunteer to do it. Or perhaps volunteer when they've not even been asked, right? Not, oh, I'll do that now, I want to do it another day. But what about, hey, I could do that for you as well. Now that's when you're really winning, right? That's when you're really getting ahead of the game. And I think that only happens when you follow those steps that we mentioned earlier. That's my theory. What about you, Nomsa? Is it right? Is it wrong? Is it good for some people, not for others? Would it work?
I think if someone is fat, they've put on weight, you should mind your own business, not to tell somebody to go and lose weight. I wouldn't say to someone, go and lose weight, to be honest with you, because if I fell in love with that person, whatever shape that might be, and I know that if I'm doing exercises, I know they will want to do exercises as well. So it's the energy that, like Amanda said, who you are, people will just become that. You wouldn't just date somebody knowing that this person, they're not right for you. So the person you date, because sometimes people put on weight because they go through tough times. So this is where you have to support them. You don't have authority to look somebody down or to say, go and do this. You support them, and then they'll be like, oh, I'm fasting. And there's loads of people now who are joining me fasting, but I'm not forcing no one. People seems to think that, oh, Nomsa, she's fasting, she's losing weight, she doesn't eat this. If I find spaghetti, I eat it. The reason why I eat it is because I have crucified my flesh in spirit and in the physically. So I'm now living in spirit. So I don't put on weight. Because it's not my worry. I'm worrying about other things, not weight. But if you worry about things, then they just become big and big and big. So you just have to mind your own business. I've learned to be Nomsa, mind my own business. And I just motivate somebody. And the power of being kind, loving, motivating somebody, guiding them through life. They guide you through life. When you fight, you disagree. It's a beautiful life. I once went through that situation where someone I know, they put on so much weight, and then the people are having problems in a relationship, and then I come in and this person tells me they've got fat. She's a fatty, calling it this and this. And I was like, hey, that's crossing the line now. It's like, okay, but people do rant, but you just have to accept people for who they are. For me, my experience is if you're kind to someone and you support them 100%, your intentions, they become what you are. One of the girls at work, she comes to me, she goes, how often do you fast? So I was like, okay. And then I'm explaining to her, she goes, okay, not today, but I think I'm going to join you. I just like the way you are. And I was like, yeah, you can join me, that's fine. And it's not just her, there's loads and loads of people. But I think what we are, who we become, people want to know. There's people that I look up to. So any words of encouragement? I know Amanda wants to go.
I have to go because
You have to go.
it's snowed here, so I need to make sure I'm off to work on time today because Otherwise, it'll be pretty slippery. We're still getting snow here.
Do you have any words of encouragement, Amanda, before you go?
Yeah. Yeah, I think whatever it is that you're looking for in a partner or you're wanting your partner to show up as, really look within yourself and think about how you're showing up. And then what can you model, like we were talking about before. What about you, Grant?
Thank you, Amanda. I think my words of encouragement are do the washing up, pick up after yourself, or you're going to be out. No, seriously, I think Nobson said wonderfully there. It's motivation.
Yeah.
Leading by example. If you lead by example, people see it. Now, not in a way that someone's a gym bunny, they love doing to it, and their partner's a slob, and it's so far away it just makes them run the other way. Because I can never do that. Again, just lead by encouragement. Don't tell people they've got to do it. Let people see what you do, because people observe. People go, "What like that? Wow, look at the benefits," and people pick it up and they start shifting towards it. So do it with love, do it with the best intention. Do not nag. Do not nag. I know it's easy to nag, but try to think of you're playing the long game here. Try to do that. Do it with love, do it with encouragement, lead by example, and that will motivate people. Conversations. Look at your goals as a you may not call it goals, but as a relationship. What's your outcome? What do you want to do? How do you want that feel? And then move these changes towards that. Map the positive change towards achieving that. And people will want to do it. Love, encourage, and also gratitude. Encourage when someone's doing it, just like your child. When they're doing something and they're making a bit of a mess up of it, but they're trying and they're making an improvement, notice that, edify that, give them encouragement, because that encourages people to do more of it. That way, you're being a great partner and you're working towards achieving your goals. That's my words of encouragement. Nomsa.
I think for me, guys, it's just motivating each other and just being there for each other, respecting other people's boundaries. Because when you love someone, if you fall in love with that person, even if they put on weight, it's not gonna put you off because you fall in love with the soul, and that means they might be going through something. So that something will pass. So just be there and supporting each other and really train a man to become what you want. A poor guy, mentor him to become rich. My pastor, if he tells you his story, he didn't even had a suit when he met his now wife. She was coming from a rich family, but she mentored him, and now he's rich. Not because they inherited anything. She just went, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this not with the money of our parents, but just us from the beginning to the top. They are at the top, so you can do it. So guys,
Does she have a sister?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. She's a pastor, Pastor Juliet. She's a pastor, so yeah, she's when you hear their story, it shows that it's true love. So she had to put boundaries, like Amanda says. She had to put boundaries, and yeah, so
Great stuff. Great stuff.
So if you guys are watching us from any other social media, please do subscribe and do share our videos as well. And go to the website www.hseia.coach and sign up looking for love. And actually, I might train this into a training course. Actually, I like this topic. I like Grant said. And just connect with us. God bless everyone. We'll see you tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm on my own. Yeah, see you tomorrow, guys. And